All right, strap in, everyone. Today we're going deep on a request you sent in.
Oh,
Yeah, about someone's, well, passionate relationship with Royal Enfield motorcycles.
interesting.
It's not just a review, though. It's
Yeah.
more like a breakup letter.
From a heartbroken motorcycle enthusiast? I'm intrigued.
Totally. This person is a self-proclaimed RE enthusiast,
Mm-hmm.
and they're calling out some serious issues.
Like what?
They're saying there's a lack of innovation, some weird pricing decisions.
Interesting. Because on the surface, Royal Enfield has been doing incredibly well.
Yeah, the sales figures are through the roof.
Yeah.
But it seems like maybe it's coming at a cost.
At the cost of their loyal fans. That's a fascinating dynamic.
Exactly. To get the full picture, we need to go back in time a bit, yeah.
Absolutely. A little history lesson never hurts.
Hit us with it then, the Royal Enfield story in India.
Well, Royal Enfield, a British brand originally,
Yeah.
really found a second home in India. The Bullet, especially, became iconic.
Yeah, for sure.
A symbol of, ruggedness, adventure, and they built up this incredibly loyal fan base over decades.
And we see that in the sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
They went from selling around 300,000 units in 2014 to over 800,000 in 2023.
Quite a jump.
Big time.
Mhm.
There was a dip in 2020, but then they bounced back hard.
Hmm.
Our source specifically points to the Meteor 350 as a big part of that.
The Meteor 350 is a key player in this story, for sure. It was a massive success from the start,
Totally.
and it kind of sets the stage for both the company's growth, but also, as we'll see, our author's eventual disillusionment.
Okay, so let's break down what made the Meteor 350 so special, at least initially.
Mm-hmm.
Our author was totally head over heels for it when it first came out.
Oh, and they had every reason to be. It had that new J1D engine, a major upgrade.
Huge.
They really nailed that modern retro look, good mix of digital and analog features,
I've seen, yeah.
and even navigation, which
Yeah.
was, pretty innovative at the time.
Yeah, it seemed like they really thought of everything. Our source raves about the style, comfort, performance, fuel efficiency, the whole package.
And over 100,000 units sold in the first year. Clearly, a lot of people agreed.
Yeah, it was a hit.
Yeah.
But that success, I guess, sets a high bar for what comes next, right?
For sure. Expectations were high after the Meteor 350. And as we'll see, those expectations, well, they weren't always met.
I see where this is going. So that brings us to the Hunter 350, right?
Right. And this is where things get a little complicated for our author.
Complicated how?
Well, on one hand, they appreciate that the Hunter made Royal Enfield more accessible.
More affordable, right?
Exactly. Open the doors for new riders.
Sure, but there's a catch. I'm sensing it.
A pretty big one, at least for our author. You see, the Hunter 350, same engine as the Meteor 350,
Okay.
but it's a whole 1 lakh cheaper.
Oh, wow.
Our author's question is literally, why did I even buy the Meteor? They waited 6 months for a bike that basically has a cheaper twin out there.
Ouch. Yeah, that's got to sting. Especially if you consider yourself a loyal fan, right?
Yeah.
It's like you get punished for your early enthusiasm.
It is. And you start to see that tension,
Yeah.
catering to a wider market versus potentially alienating your core fan base.
Right. It's a tough balance.
It is, especially for a brand like Royal Enfield, so steeped in heritage and, well, emotion.
This is just the beginning, though.
Yeah.
Our author goes on to list a bunch of other models that they consider flops.
Oh, yeah.
The Scram 411, the Gorilla 450.
There were quite a few, weren't there? And all that talk about a potential 800cc Himalayan.
Right, adding to the mix.
Yeah.
But the real heartbreaker, the symbol of everything wrong in their eyes, is the shotgun.
A shotgun. That's a story in itself.
Yeah, the author was obsessed with the concept design. This cool blend of futuristic and retro. They even said they would paid more, waited longer, whatever it took.
Yeah, so they were really on board.
Oh, yeah. But then, the final product, total letdown. Like they took all that potential and just made a slightly tweaked classic 350. Yeah, we've got a visual comparison from the article. It's brutal.
So all that hype for that,
Yeah.
that's rough, especially because Royal Enfield has shown they can make great designs.
They have.
The classic 350, the Meteor, the Hunter, all successful, well-received. They clearly have the talent.
And the marketing to get people excited, for sure. So it begs the question, why play it so safe? Why not push the boundaries, give those loyal fans something truly new?
That's the million-dollar question, and it becomes even more important when you look at the competition heating up.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Jawa, Yezdi, BSA, even Hero with those Harley-Davidson and Maverick collaborations.
They're all stepping up their game, offering something different, something maybe a little more daring.
Yeah, and if Royal Enfield isn't careful, those potential customers might just jump ship.
especially if they feel ignored or like their loyalty isn't valued.
It's about more than just motorcycles here, isn't it?
It is. It's about that emotional connection we have with brands and that feeling of betrayal almost when they lose their way.
Yeah, that's something everyone can relate to, right? Whether it's a clothing brand, a tech company, or in this case, a motorcycle company that seems to be losing its soul.
Exactly. This is getting deep.
Deep dive, right.
Huh. But seriously, this is fascinating. Brand loyalty, innovation versus tradition, staying relevant in a world that's always changing.
Heavy stuff. But we're not done yet. We need to talk about those final straws, the Super Meteor and the Bear 650 that really pushed our author over the edge. And we need to figure out if Royal Enfield can even recover from all this. But we'll save that for the next part. So stay tuned, because this is just getting started.
Welcome back. Before we get into the Super Meteor and the Bear 650, the ones that really pushed our author over the edge,
Oh, yeah.
I think it's worth remembering those sales figures we talked about.
The fact that they went from selling like 300,000 motorcycles in 2014 to over 800,000 in 2023.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole thing so interesting.
Yeah.
Because while those numbers look amazing, success, our author's experience shows there might be a problem underneath.
Like a crack in the foundation.
Exactly. They're saying Royal Enfield might be choosing fast growth, getting more market share, instead of focusing on the innovation and quality that used to be their thing.
So like short-term gains, but at what cost?
Right. Alienating their most loyal fans, the people who actually built the brand up.
It's a tough spot to be in, I guess. Wanting to grow, but also staying true to your roots.
It is a classic dilemma. And for Royal Enfield, it's even trickier.
How so?
Well, because the motorcycle market is getting more and more competitive.
Oh, right. We talked about Jawa, Yezdi, BSA.
And Hero, don't forget Hero, now they've got Harley Davidson and Maverick on their side.
Double trouble.
It's serious competition. And they're not just standing still, They're innovating, trying new designs, new tech.
Appealing to those new riders, the ones who want something a little more exciting.
Exactly. They're giving those riders a reason to switch, especially if they feel like Royal Enfield isn't listening.
Yeah, ignoring them.
Yeah, not taking their loyalty seriously. Which brings us to...
Super Meteor and the Bear 650.
Right. These are the ones that really tipped our author over the edge.
They were not happy, to say the least.
Not at all. Let's start with the Super Meteor. Their main issue seems to be the engine.
What about it?
It's the same one as the Interceptor and the Continental GT, but the price is way higher.
So basically they're paying more for like a slightly different look.
That's how our author sees it, yeah. And it plays into that idea, profits over real innovation.
Not a good look.
Not really. They're saying Royal Enfield is just rehashing old stuff, hoping the brand name will carry them.
But will it? I mean, the market is so fast-paced, so competitive.
That's the question, right? Can that strategy last? And it gets even more interesting with the Bear 650.
Ooh, this is where the author really let loose, right? No holding back.
Nope. They called the design uninspired, lazy. They even compare it to like a mix of an RX 100 and a Hunter with zero effort put in.
Damn. That's harsh. But, it's interesting. They're not criticizing the quality of the bike itself.
Right.
It's more about the look, the design choices, what those say about the brand now.
That's a good point. It's not about function. It's about feeling. They're saying, this isn't the Royal Enfield I fell in love with.
Yeah, not the one that made them want to ride.
And that feeling, that disappointment, is even worse because there are other companies out there.
The competition.
Yeah, and they're pushing the boundaries, taking risks, offering those riders something new.
And Royal Enfield might lose them if they don't step up.
Exactly. It's not just about losing customers, it's about losing something more important.
What's that?
Trust. Loyalty. That fan base that used to see Royal Enfield as more than just a brand.
A way of life, almost.
Exactly. So where does this leave Royal Enfield? Can they come back from this, win back those fans, or are they going to become, a victim of their own success?
Big questions. We went from one person's opinion piece to like an existential crisis for the whole motorcycle industry.
It just shows how powerful one voice can be.
It does. This author's passion, their frustration, it sparked a bigger conversation.
About loyalty, innovation, staying relevant in a world that never stops changing.
Deep stuff. But you know what? Our author isn't completely giving up on Royal Enfield.
Oh.
There's still some hope, a belief that they can find their way back.
I'm glad to hear that. What do they suggest?
Well, they say Royal Enfield needs to go back to basics, to those core values.
Authenticity, right? Innovation, and really understanding what it means to be a motorcycle enthusiast.
Exactly. It's not about forgetting about growth or ignoring new markets. It's about finding a balance.
Between those aspirations and the things that made them great in the first place.
Right. But how do they actually do that? Any specific ideas?
They do, and this is where it gets really interesting. They say focus on models that celebrate the heritage,
Uh-huh.
but at the same time, push the boundaries of design and technology. They point to the Interceptor and the Continental GT.
Those were good, weren't they?
They were. And they show that Royal Enfield can find that balance.
So not just sticking to the old ways, but evolving, adapting, staying true to themselves.
That's the challenge, and it's not easy, but our author believes they can do it.
They just need to find that spark again, that passion, that willingness to take risks.
Like remembering why they loved motorcycles in the first place and putting that into their bikes.
Beautifully said. I think that's the heart of this whole deep dive.
It is. Even the biggest brands can lose their way if they forget their values, if they don't connect with their customers.
Yeah. It's also a reminder that feedback matters, even if it's a strongly worded opinion piece.
It's true, because if Royal Enfield really listens to those fans, this could be a turning point.
A chance to make things right.
Exactly, because it's not about blame, it's about realizing that brands and their customers are in a relationship.
And like any relationship, it takes work, communication, understanding.
To adapt and grow together.
So to all those Royal Enfield fans out there, don't give up hope.
Your voices matter.
And to Royal Enfield, remember, your legacy is more than just numbers.
It's the passion, the loyalty, the shared stories of all those riders who love your bikes.
Don't forget that. Take on the challenge, push yourselves, and find that magic again.
The open road is waiting.
That's a wrap on this Royal Enfield deep dive. Hope you found it insightful, maybe even inspiring.
Definitely thought-provoking.
Whether you're a diehard fan, just curious, or new to motorcycles, your perspective matters.
Absolutely.
So share your thoughts, your experiences, your hopes for Royal Enfield in the comments.
Let's keep the conversation going.
And keep exploring the world of motorcycles, brands, and the connections that bring us together. Okay, so final part of our Royal Enfield deep dive. I'm really curious, does our author actually offer any solutions? I mean, they've aired their grievances.
They do, and it gets to the core of, what makes Royal Enfield so special.
What's that?
That mix of heritage, craftsmanship, that adventurous spirit. It's connected with riders for, forever.
It's about more than just, making motorcycles.
Right, it's a whole feeling.
So what's the solution then?
Well, they say double down on those strengths. The history, the design talent, those passionate fans.
They've got the pieces, just got to put them together, right?
Exactly. It starts with listening to those customers, understanding what they want.
And delivering, yeah.
Yeah, with products that feel authentic, but also innovative.
So less rehashing, more creating.
Right. But what does that actually look like? Any specifics?
Yeah, I'm curious.
They have some ideas. They say focus on models that celebrate the heritage, but
Wow.
push the boundaries too. Design, technology, the whole package. They even point to the Interceptor and the Continental GT.
Those are good.
Yeah, they show it can be done.
So evolving, but not losing themselves.
Exactly. It's a challenge for sure, but they think Royal Enfield can do it.
They just need that spark again, that passion,
That willingness to take risks.
to make something truly special.
Yeah, like remembering why they fell in love with motorcycles in the first place.
Wow, that's really well put. I think that sums up this whole deep dive perfectly,
It does, doesn't it? Even the biggest brands can lose their way.
if they forget what matters.
Values, connection with their customers, it's all connected.
And it shows how important feedback is, even if it's, a tough online article.
Yeah, because if Royal Enfield takes it to heart, this could be a real turning point.
A chance to make things right.
Exactly. It's not about blame. It's about recognizing that brands and customers, they're in a relationship.
And it takes work,
They
communication.
make it work.
So to all those Royal Enfield fans out there feeling a bit let down,
Don't lose hope.
your voices are being heard.
Yeah, to Royal Enfield,
Remember why you started.
your legacy. It's more than just sales.
It's the passion, the loyalty, the stories of all those riders.
Exactly. Don't take that for granted. Step up, push yourselves, find that magic again.
The open road is calling.
And that's a wrap on our Royal Enfield deep dive. Hope you enjoyed it, found it insightful, maybe even inspiring.
It's been quite a ride. Whether you're a die-hard fan, just curious, or new to the motorcycle world, your perspective is valuable.
So true.
Share your thoughts, your experiences, your hopes for Royal Enfield down in the comments.
Let's keep this conversation going.
Because exploring the world of motorcycles, brands, the connections that bring us together, well, that's what it's all about.